Hello YouTube, Andy's here, you're watching Guitar Guru channel. This blog is gonna be dedicated to Telecaster guitars. And what are we gonna talk about today? Well, number one, we're gonna discuss custom shop guitars in general and specifically Relic job. So you know that it makes it look old and it's an artificial process, right? So we will discuss how it's done, why you would need it, and why it's more expensive than a regular unreliced model. Then number two, this particular Telecaster called Journeyman, base model of 52, and it's called Twisted Telecaster. So we'll see why that name is used for this particular model. Then we'll review and compare these two Telecasters custom shop from my collection. It's gonna be regular 1952 no-caster. It's like iconic, you know, absolutely classic specifications for a Telecaster guitar, and more modern like guitar called Journeyman Twisted Telecaster with modifications. So we will pay especially close attention to this thing called vibrola, which is a whammy bar on a Telecaster. Then we will see how a Telecaster guitar is different from Stratocaster. Most of the time I get this question: Andy, if I buy a Telecaster guitar, is it gonna sound same as my Stratocaster, right? So people who's been playing Fender Stratocaster for a while, they're trying to make up their mind whether or not they need a Telecaster guitar in the collection. And they are basically afraid that they will get another Stratocaster, you know, with a different shape of the body of the guitar. So we will see if it's really different from Strat guitar and whether or not you need it in your collection. And final point for today's blog is whether or not you're supposed to use processor, guitar processor power when you play something very classic and iconic, like classical Strat or Telecaster from 50s, something like old school with a contemporary processing power. Stay tuned, we'll discuss all of these bullet points soon. Well, my favorite topic, custom shop guitars and specifically Relic job. Hear me out. I know there are a lot of haters on custom shop guitar side, on the Relic jobs especially, because people say, why would I pay for a Relic job, like extra 500 bucks? But guess what? Relic job really makes your guitar look unique. Right? So it's like your signature guitar, your signature model. There is no way you can make two Relic jobs look absolutely identical. So when people say, I don't need it to be Relic because it's artificial and I would rather let it age naturally. To counter that, first of all, you need 100 years to really make it look with all these checkings, and tear and wear on your neck, on the body of the guitar, or even metal components. So let me show you something very interesting. This particular guitar, this Strat, is from 1991. And just look at the finish and other components and the neck. This is 1991, means it's almost 34 years old. And you see, it did not age. If you are not abusing your guitar and you keep it in the case and with mild temperatures, right, and you are careful with this instrument, even after 50 years, you will not get this Relic look. The only way you can get Relic look is to really abuse and neglect your instrument. So technically, if you are planning to wait on your guitar to naturally age, you are looking at a lifetime, okay? If you will try to abuse your instrument and make it look really old and cool, unfortunately, it will affect all the other components and electronics inside too, and the neck and fret wires and everything. So the way Custom Shop does Relic job, they remove all the components and neck. And when they age the finish and make the finish crack, so your body moves and breathes better and sounds better, they don't do it with the whole guitar set up, all right? They do it only to finish, lacquer part, wooden part of the body of your guitar without like basically abusing the electronics and neck and fretboard and fret wires. So Relic job makes your guitar look unique, which you probably want, especially if you are a working musician, you're always on stage and you want to be recognizable. So my point is, Custom Shop really makes sense, especially for professional musicians. There is a misconception of a custom shop in general. So very often I hear from other guitarists that technically custom shop, it's just customized guitar to your needs. You ask them to put specific pickups or specific whammy bar or maybe specific fret wires in the neck, and that is considered to be custom shop. No, it's not. Okay, it's not. Custom shops like Murphy Lab, VOS, Wildwood Specs, they get a hold of a better wood. Like when wood comes into a factory, let's say it's Fender factory, all these custom shops, they get a hold of wood first and they pick all best parts, okay? Then they do manual work on the guitar, all right? Brushing and adjusting and wiring and hand wiring pickups and all that, which makes your guitar ultimately way better. That is why it's 2 or 3 times more expensive than a regular model. That being said, Custom Shop is not only a guitar that's customized to your needs, it's made of better components in general. The best example here is probably something like this. Imagine you want to buy a Mercedes car, and there is a base model, like regular 300 series Mercedes, and there is an AMG package, right? Or if you go for BMW, it's like normal series, 5 series BMW, or 5 series M class. M class for BMW or AMG for Mercedes is a custom shop. They use better components. They tune your engine to sound better. You have more power, you have better suspension, you have performance brakes, and so on and so forth. Exactly same is happening with guitars that are made at custom shop. So these are for professionals. So remember, custom shop is better components and better guitar overall, and it's adjusted to a professional guitarist needs. And then Relic job is basically making your guitar look really unique and cool. And you see, playing music is all about emotional state, all about your feelings and emotions, right? And if your guitar speaks back to you, even in the way how it responds to you playing or the way it looks like, it's a big deal for a musician. Remember one of these big live shows of Metallica when James Hetfield been on stage with his best Explorer guitar that he likes very much, and guitar went out of tune. So he comes up to the microphone and says, yeah, my guitar is out of tune. That's a bummer, but I'm gonna play it anyways because I like the way it looks. Now let's talk about this particular guitar. Well, this particular instrument was featured as a face cover for musiczoo.com website, custom shop guitars. And I can't blame them, the guitar is a beaut. So I decided to pull a trigger and add it to my guitar collection, mainly because of specifications, because of Twisted Tele pickups and Bigsby tailpiece. But most importantly, they repositioned the selector for pickups and put it in the back, as opposed to regular, like on my other custom shop Telecaster. You see how close this lever is to the volume knob. So technically it prevents you from moving and gripping it properly, right? It's in a way. That is why they completely redesigned the electronics and position of this particular leather and put it in the back so it would not interfere with the volume knob. But most importantly, when I received the guitar, I noticed that Relic job is very, very unique and peculiar on this particular instrument. I hope you see it in this light, that the finish
actually dried into the wood, into the pattern of the wood in multiple places, and it starts cracking and letting the wood move and breathe and resonate proper when you play. It typically happens on a very, very old, naturally old instruments. So they did not just crack the finish like you can see on this guitar, right? So the finish is heavily reliced. But in this case, finish is kind of preserved, but it dried into the wood. So somehow they found a way to make your guitar age to almost like 100 years old, and it still look like natural relic. And a very brief and quick shout out to the musiczoo.com website. So these guys impressed me a lot. When I received the guitar, the case had a broken latch right here, so it would not lock the case. But as soon as I contacted musiczoo.com, they instantly offered me another brand new case with the color of my choice, or $250 refund, and I get to keep this custom shop case. So a big thumb up for musiczoo.com customer service. They impressed me a lot. Like, that was a super positive customer experience. I can tell that they care about their customers and they keep the value of their brand and of their service up high. Good job, guys. Now back to the guitar.
This is a 2017 limited edition Journeyman Relic Tele with Bigsby tailpiece. Some people call it vibrola. I didn't like it in the very beginning myself, but when I started changing strings, I realized how much more complex the whole setting is compared to what I thought of it initially. Like these two rolling bars and the way strings are attached and how they roll on two sides when you vibrate really amazes me. It's such a piece of art. A base model of 1952, same as this heavy relic guitar, and just look again how much different relic jobs make it look. You know, one guitar is so much different from another just by performing the relic job. Also, what differentiates this limited run Telecaster from regular base model of 52 is a twisted hand-wound pickups on this Journeyman. So these Twisted Tele pickups make even bigger difference between soft plucking and strong picking or chicken picking. When you play it here, it almost gives you distorted sound in clean when you really pluck strings hard. Just hear what vibrola can do. Trust me, you would not want to pass on it. And here's the answer to your question, whether or not you need Telecaster if you already have Strat in your collection. You see, Strats are versatile guitars. They offer a lot, all right? And you have this glossy sound, breaking glass-like sound. They are powerful, especially if they have these humbuckers at the bridge. But Telecaster gives you iconic raw guitar sound. So you really hear the ash body and maple neck of your guitar more than on anything else. So if you are into country music style and this famous twangy sound, or you want your guitar to sound more like American Southern rock, there is nothing really that can replace a good Fender Telecaster in these cases. Now the warmth of the sound on the neck pickup. Or something like jazz. Now, question about using processor power, contemporary processing for your iconic old school guitars, and use something like Fractal product or Kemper. It's not a real tube amp, right? So you will not get real tube sound. It's a simulation. Also, it hides the actual sound of your instrument. With a good processor, even cheap guitar is gonna give you any type of tube preamp you want. It will imitate the sound you want to hear on any guitar. So in my opinion, if you have a high-end custom shop, Gibson Les Paul, Telecaster, Stratocaster, try to avoid using processing power. Let me show you what I mean in this example. Even when you use heaviest distortion possible with your regular tube amplifier, it's still not gonna give you true metal sound. You see, it still sounds old school. Now let me show you something. I'm gonna plug in this old school Tele into Fractal FM9 turbo processor. And see, the processor doesn't care what kind of guitar you plug into it. It will make it sound metal even if your guitar is absolutely not suitable for that. Just hear this sound.
Guys, that is it for today. Again, it was my experience. This is how I see the Telecaster guitar. All these use cases and sound production techniques I showed you in this video. Of course, you may have disagreements and your own perspective. Please share your thoughts about Telecaster guitars in the comments under this video. If you like it or dislike something about this particular instrument, whether or not you would prefer Telecaster over, let's say, Les Paul or Strat. Now don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Please action on the channel. Don't miss other cool guitars I review in my Guitar Guru channel. And until next time, God bless and take care.